to the Change Reality Show. We sitting here live, you feel me, at my man's Honeycut Coffee right here in Maricopa, Arizona, with the one and only, our homeboy, the mayor. How you doing, my man?
Good.
Hey, we finally caught up with you. We see you've been doing a great job in the community, so let the fans and the viewers know what's planned for Maricopa.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of things going on for Maricopa. I mean, from growth to, housing's picking back up a lot, and so we're excited about that. But, as we talk about the growth of Maricopa, really been trying to solve a lot of the foundational issues, and so that's what our focus has been. Things like the floodplain issues, those are much bigger than all of us, and it really inhibits a lot of our businesses coming into town. Mm-hmm. And so if they can decide between us or Chandler, then if they don't have to, yeah, we want it to be us. But if they have to spend an extra $1 million to eradicate a floodplain, then they're going to go to Chandler. And so we're trying to work with the feds to get that solved. One of the other big things that's a real big win for us is actually the 347 overpass. I mean, that's going to change the entire area of the city of Maricopa as we move forward. So we got into the 5-year plan this year, got $20 million. We're working closely with Chen. That has brought a whole lot of money to the area and to the city. We're great partners with them, and we couldn't do it without them. So we were very happy to be with them. We talk about the future with the I-11 corridor. That could change the face of us as the I-11 is slated to come right through here. That attaches from southern Arizona and Mexico, and hopefully it's slated all the go all the way up to Canada. So yeah, it's a lot of cool things happening here, and like I said, we're trying to lay the foundation for what will be a great city long after perhaps we're all dead. But that's what you got to do. You got to think ahead.
That's right. But the main point that the mayor's making, like he said, the community is going to be safe. The community is going to be taken care of, and way after we dead and gone, they still going to be talking about what the mayor did for Maricopa. You feel me? And that's exactly what we're talking about, because we had to keep everybody in the right focus of the game to make growth happen, and mingle with the right people to make growth happen, and helping the people as well. Is that correct, Mayor? All right. Here you go, sweetie.
I just want to thank you for sitting down with us and talking to us a little bit. Tell us, with the new elections coming here in November, what's going on with you and what will you be doing?
Okay. Thank you very much. I was just re-elected to another 2-year term. I was fortunate enough not to have an opponent in this race, and so it's something people have differing opinions on it all the time. But I hope that speaks that I'm trying to give it my all. But at the end of the day, it's not about one person. It's about a collective group of people working together to solve the problems. Because but we all know what we don't accomplish when we do nothing. We get nothing, and so in order to get something, you got to be out there. You got to be working hard. You got to give it your all. And from my standpoint, I try and go to bed every night knowing that I've given it everything I have, and it's a lot of sacrifice from my own family, but it's something that I feel that I want to better for my children and your children and the community in general. And so anything we can do to help in that fashion moves us forward. And I'm kind of a never satisfied kind of guy, and so I like to sprint, even though I probably should only be crawling, and that's okay as long as we're looking to the future. But as we move forward, as we try and run, as we try and network with the outside areas, I think that enlarges our fishbowl. And so I mean, there's a lot of things going on. We have some great elections coming down. Like I said, some of us from the local elections were elected at the primary. Others will still be elected at the general, and that's still coming up here on November 4th. Obviously it's a gubernatorial race, but I think the big thing on the ballot for the city of Maricopa is the bond override for the schools and the school district. And a lot of people have a lot of varying opinions of that, but I think that at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, is an investment in our children worth it? Is an investment in our future worth it? And that directly ties to economic development. I hear all the time people say, I want an Applebee's, I want this. But one of the things that CEOs look for when they come to a city is, what does the education look like? And if it's not top-notch education, they don't want to come here. So even if you disbelieve that the money is going to be used for good things, at the end of the day, if it does directly correlate with a better education for our children, then that's that many more people that will stay here in town rather than commuting to the Tempe or the Kyrene school districts, which directly affects our ability ability to recruit employers, and therefore it keeps more people here in the city of Maricopa versus commuting out to go work in the Phoenix metro area. Because I don't know about you, but I'd love to keep them here, because that also encourages our lunch crowd. I mean, anybody will tell you that if you open a business, I mean, Eric over here at Honeycut Coffee will probably tell you that. If you open a business that, you know, especially if you're serving lunch and dinner, you break even at dinner. You make your profit at lunch. And I don't know if you've been in too many of these Maricopa businesses that serve, you know, lunch and dinner. They're pretty dead during the day. And so that's why it's really hard for these people to open up new shops here, because there's just not a lot of lunch crowd. So those are the things we have to change, and we got some exciting stuff coming down the pike. So I'm hopeful for that. I would say the last big thing that is important is that there's an initiative on the ballot to make the mayor's term from a 2-year term to a 4-year term. And you know, this doesn't help me or hurt me in any way, shape, or form. My term is 2 years, and that's just the way it is. But this will help or hurt the next mayor to come in here. And I think that we have to look at this from a competitive standpoint. We are competing every day against Chandler and Phoenix and Mesa, and they all have 4-year terms. And so when you're out there making connections with developers and CEOs, and you're talking about bringing these companies into town, if we go through a cycle where we have a mayor for 2 years, and then another mayor comes in for 2 years, and another mayor comes in for 2 years, it blows it all out of the water, and all those relationships are null and void. And so you're starting over every single time, and that puts Maricopa behind the 8 ball by a decade. And so we have to ask ourselves, do we want to stay competitive? And if so, that's how we have to look at it.
And I also want to say too, man, about your 2-year term, you're very correct. It at least take 4 to 8 years for a mayor or anybody, or if you're in regular business, it take at least 5 to get it off the ground. So we really got to have my man right here in office for 4 piece. You feel me? Let's cut all that 2 thing down. I'm a boy from the big city, so I'm used to a mayor being in there 20 years. You know what I mean? I don't know about that. Hey, we all know how Detroit is. Mayor Coleman Young, he was in there for 20 years. So we need a mayor that can stay the course, take care of the business, and do what he do, and that's bring jobs here, bring economic development here, and bring business here for jobs for the community. So Maricopa people, raise the bar, man, because it takes this good brother more than 2 years to get the job did, you know? And what you think, man?
Yeah, you know, again, you're dead on it. And like I said, you know, voting yes for that initiative doesn't help or hurt me. I mean, my term is from 2014 to 2016. And, you know, if I was to run again or someone else was to run, you know, if the initiative passed now in November, then it would go into play in 2016, and then it would be a 4-year term. But you're absolutely right. I mean, relationships take time to build. They take time to cultivate. And anybody who doesn't understand that, go out to the local farm and look at what it takes to put stuff in the ground. Sometimes it takes a whole season. Depending on what you're planting, it can take several years for it to grow. So when you're talking about a post-recession world that we live in now, where there's a lot of money on the sidelines, but they're not willing to pull the trigger yet, I can have the best story in the world here and say that Maricopa is the greatest city since sliced bread, which it is. But at the end of the day, I can't force someone to pull the trigger. And so what we have to do is we have to say, we're always in front of them. We have to be selling our story, and we have to be telling them, look, this is the place you want to be. But if it's me this year and some other dude next year and another dude the year after that, what do we? No, it's just not going to work.
Not going to work, my brother. So, hey, we want to say, hey, man, it's been a pleasure you coming on the show, and we appreciate you coming here. And good to see you in the community, because that's what we need here in Maricopa. We need all officials, my man, the mayor. We need you in the neighborhood, talking to the people, communicating, you know what I mean? Because that's how you know what's going on with the people, and the people communicating with you at all times. Is that correct, Mayor?
Dead on.
My man. Hey, babe, you can say the last words, and we appreciate the mayor coming on.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Mayor. We just want you to know that the Streets Don't Love You Back is getting more and more active in the community, and we'll be working with the mayor on a few things. And we just want you to keep in touch with us at streetsdon'tloveyouback.com, and come on out to Copa and get involved. A lot of great things are being planned. Thank you.